We are live, it seems. So I apologize, I'm a couple of minutes late. I'm running into technical issues here. My plan was to show you a bunch of pictures of the rifle that I've been shooting, getting ready. They are in my iCloud, and Apple just locked me out of my account. And when I try to reset everything, it says action cannot be completed because of a server error. Try later, which is deeply unhelpful. I don't know what the hell's happening with their servers, but this is driving me absolutely bananas. If you are watching this live, so forgive me, I'm trying to reset this thing so I have access to my pictures. Normally, I process stuff and dump it onto the onto the my computer and all that, and I didn't have time to do so yesterday. I figured I'll just hack into my photos on the cloud. It always works, except for today when I actually need them. Anyhow, if you're watching this live, please put something in the chat box. Tell me that you can hear me. My plan today is to talk a little bit about my takeaways from the first NRL Hunter match that I shot. If I changed anything about how I view optics, well, not really. I'm shooting another one this coming weekend in Mason Valley in California, which introduces some other requirements. Mr. Northman is here. So far, so good. A bit desync, but okay. I wonder if there's an issue with the internet connection. Let's see. I'm trying to reset my password. Maybe that will. With that, they will let me get into my photos. Oh, for fuck's sake! Like, I hate Apple so much. Not as much as Google, but close. I was with Google, I switched to Apple, and Apple works great while it works, and then it doesn't. Okay, my account has been unlocked. I can get into the phone. All right, let's see if I can get into my photos. Mm-hmm. You gotta be shitting me. I just reset this thing. Let's try it again. So if you've been here for any length of time, you know that I'm a big fan of the fix rifles. And the match that I shot in Arizona, I shot with a 6.5 Creedmoor fix. Two-factor authentication. You know why Apple is so hard to hack? If you ever tried to reset password, do anything like that, I think any self-respecting hacker trying to answer all of Apple's questions basically just gives up and runs out of patience. Mazel tov, we got it. Okay, and while I've been here bullshitting, I also got a message from Mr. Aaron Gines from Anarchy Outdoors. He's gonna join me in about 20 to 30 minutes. He's a pretty serious competition shooter. So when I want to talk about competition, he's definitely one of the guys I want to bring on. My buddy Will has been in Indiana. I actually didn't talk to him. He probably would have been a good guest as well for this. I'll bring him on to the next one. Okay. Alrighty. It is October 25th. October. This February 25th, that will tell you how much I know about what's happening during the year. And I'm doing my usual thing. my day job's gone nuts. I more or less live on a plane. Doing these live streams with any sort of regularity. I used to try to do it on Thursdays and stuff. It just isn't happening. So I changed strategy. Decided I'm going to do these when I can. Also, for the last few months, YouTube would not let me schedule anything so that it runs. So right now I'm looking at the YouTube channel to see. Okay, all right, it is streaming on YouTube. Excellent. So that started working. So I was able to pre-schedule, so at least you guys know when this is coming up. Excellent. Okay. Very, very good. Okay. I see people are slowly adding in, as is always the case. Cheers. The nice side effect of YouTube not allowing me to have a firearm in my hands during one of these is that I generally don't get anywhere near alcohol if I'm going to be handling firearms. But since there are no firearms, cheers. This is a nice peaty, smoky Irish whiskey. If you like peated whiskeys, highly recommend it. Also highly recommended. I also have smoky tea, and I've mentioned that last time I started making these tumblers. It has my logo on one side, and making sense of the nonsense since 1991 on the other side. I ordered a batch. Several people ordered them. I still have, I think, 3 more. If you guys are interested, let me know what I think I'm going to do. If you go on my website and sign up to be a paying supporter, I'll send you a tumbler. It's a multi-purpose tumbler. In the morning, it contains coffee, and in the evening, it contains tea. Go figure. Okay. Alrighty, so let's do some takeaways. So the rifle that I shot in an NRL Hunter match in January in Arizona, that was the ProAm match. So I went in as an amateur. So I didn't. It wasn't as hard as it would have been if I was just a regular shooter, because as an amateur, you're allowed to go see what the pro you're paired with is doing, which is very, very helpful. And because of that, wasn't quite the same. And rather than fairly early on, I decided that I don't hugely care about points. Well, to be honest with you, Jared, I enjoy your reviews and recommendations, but what I'm most interested in is what optics you have on your personal firearms. Alrighty. Normally the messages show on the screen. I'm not sure why they don't. Oh, there we go. I see it. Right now you should be able to see the messages. Well, that's going to be one of the things I talk about today. And if you want, while people are joining the stream, I can do a quick overview, but let's do precision rifles first. On top of it, the basic shtick is that I'm relatively, as far as optics of my personal firearms are, I'm relatively insensitive to price because the specifics of my work, I either don't pay for them or I have very, very steep discounts. When I was shooting that match in Arizona, I have a fixed rifle with a Bartline barrel and suppressor and a tangent theta 7-35 rifle scope on it in a area for 19 mount. You are going to be hard pressed to find a setup more Gucci than that. However, my 6.5 grit barrel is one of the earlier ones, and what I found is that with several magazines I had, I had some failures to feed, which I did not like. It really irritated me on the clock. So I decided to do a couple of things for this shoot. First of all, so this match tomorrow is going to be the first one I shoot as a normal shooter without all the perks of being an amateur, walking around and looking how other people are doing it. And in an attempt to stay a little bit more with the spirit of the competition, I gave it a little bit of thought and decided that I want to shoot with a lighter gun. The gun I shot with in Arizona weighed in at 15.5 pounds, so open heavy. It was 16 pounds. 16 pounds is the cutoff for open heavy. And it was wonderfully steady and all that. One of the things that I found is that my biggest problem is time management and gear management, not shooting per se. Shooting also had its challenges, and I made a good number of misses just because I missed. But a lot of those misses were because I was running out of time, and when the 2 seconds left, all your fundamentals go out the window, that kind of stuff. On top of it, the spirit of NRL Hunter is a little bit more along the lines of using the rifle I would actually hunt with. I do hunt with my fixed rifles, but not in the 15-pound configurations. And frankly, when I go hunting with the fix, it's usually less than 10 pounds because the rifle itself is quite light. And the optic I use for hunting is usually not too heavy. So I decided to kind of do this halfway. I decided to configure a rifle for the sub 12-pound class. For now, I might go back and forth, right? Since I'm not hugely worried about collecting points in a particular category, I couldn't care less. So I'm going to try to shoot a couple matches with different guns. And the one here in California, I'm going to shoot with a different fix. The one that has carbon fiber proof research 308 barrel. It is a 308, not a 6.5 Creed. And the reason I'm looking for a picture, there we go. There's a picture. I'm going to put a picture of the rifle as configured on the screen and share it, and we'll talk a little bit about what we've got over there. Let's see. There we go. Okay, you should be able to see it now. Okay, you should be able to see it. So this is the original fix. This is the very first fix that I got when they just released the rifle. It is my favorite gun that I own, bar none, for a variety of reasons. Part of them because of how well it works for me. Part of it is because I am somewhat sentimental. It is serial number 003. So it's a very, very early model. I originally got it with a 16-inch 308 barrel. And then I was visiting Q at some point, chatting with Kevin, and walked out of there with this 24-inch proof barrel. He used it on some prototype fix to go hunting in New Zealand, then pulled it off to do something else, and the barrel was laying in his office, and somehow I walked out with it. So, not complaining. Gun writers are natural born freeloaders. I don't know how this happens. I go somewhere and I walk out, with something. But the barrel turned out to be wonderfully accurate. It is a little bit longer than I would otherwise perhaps want to use in a hunting rifle. When you put a suppressor on this thing, it does get long. But it is accurate. Point of impact doesn't shift very much at all when it gets warm. And I have a lot of mileage with it. Okay. This is the rifle I used for precision class in Wisconsin last year. It shot well, and I figured I'm going to keep it. Keep it in more or less this configuration. I did change a few things in order to some lessons learned from Arizona, and some in order to squeeze into the 12-pound weight limit. The scope is different. So it's also tangent theta, but this is a 5 to 25 tangent theta. The 7 to 35 that I used in January is still on my 6.5 Creed. In terms of pure performance, 7 to 35 is, I think, a little bit better. If you are itching to spend a lot of money, and buy what I think is the best precision scope in the market today. I think tangent 7 to 35 is it. On the other hand, if you already have a 5 to 25, would I sell it at a loss in order to upgrade to 7 to 35? I don't know about that. They're both are very, very nice scopes. And for my shooting, I don't think it will make any practical difference. So this is a 5 to 25 that I've had for quite a few years. So again, a scope I have a lot of mileage with. It's just tracked like a clock, never skipped a beat. It is sitting in an odd mount. It's a 34 millimeter odd mount. Unfortunately, John at odd mount does not make mounts anymore. As far as standalone mounts go, it's easily one of the better ones ever made. More recently, on new stuff that I put together, I switched to Area 419, and it is an exceptional mount. And if you're planning to mount accessories and stuff like that, I think Area 419 has got it figured out. On this gun, because of, again, weight limitations, and because I want to use this optic, which is a heavy optic, it's, I think, around in the 45 ounce range. I'm not going to be putting any real accessories on it. There's a bubble level built into the mount. When I was younger, I could see it well. Now, not so well. So at some point, maybe if I keep using this one for matches, maybe I'll put a level on it. Beyond that, I think the rifle and the scope are going to stay together. I really like how this thing works. Okay. In a match in January, I used a Skypod, MDT's triple pull Skypod, which is an absolutely spectacular bipod for real practical shooting across different types of terrain. I think it is the best bipod I've seen yet, and to be fair, I have seen most of, not all, but most of them. But it's heavy. It's about 2.5 pounds, I think. And if I was willing to go up a weight class, I would absolutely be using the heavier Skypod. Since I'm being weight conscious on this one, and again, by next match, and I'm shooting another match in a month, I might change my mind, who knows. But for the time being, the plan is to use this bipod. This is the Gunworks Elevate bipod. It's a double pull design. The tallest it gets is about 19 inches, so not tall enough to go kneeling, kind of like with the triple pull Skypod. Excuse me. Pardon me. I figured you don't want to listen to me sneeze. With the triple pull Skypod, you get a whole range of different shooting positions available to you that you wouldn't be able to do with almost any other smaller, less flexible bipod. And for somebody like me, I'm getting older and less limber. It's definitely a crutch that I can rely on, and I guarantee that during the match this coming weekend, there will be stages where I'm going to miss the triple pull. But it was a choice: either pop a triple pull on there at what is it, about 40 ounces or something like that, or and I could do that if I used a much lighter scope, or keep the tangent and go to a lighter bipod. The Gunworks bipod is extremely capable, and I think it'll do what I need. But there will be shooting positions where, rather than rely on the bipod and rear tripod, I'll just basically be shooting off of the tripod, and that's okay. One of the things that I learned during this January match is that my biggest problem, was managing the gear and finding the targets. I've been practicing managing the gear, but locating the targets only gets easier with practice, and I do not have very good means to practice that. I'm going to use the same binoculars, like a Geovid Pro, the AB Plus. There should be a picture somewhere here, but you guys know what they look like. I'll pull up a picture later. That's not really an issue. The catch is that you have to find the plate with your binoculars. You have to figure out where that plate is. Oh, there's Aaron is here. Let me let him in. Where is he? Okay, he's getting his stuff together. You have to find the plate, then you have to transition to the rifle, see that plate in the rifle again, and engage it. Everything that happens before you pull the trigger for the first time is what was giving me the most problems. Okay. Given that, I want to use the best optics I can because I think that will help me address the parts where I am the weakest. I've got 4 minutes for this whole thing. I need to be done finding plates in 2 minutes so that I give myself at least 2 minutes for shooting. If I can find a way to give myself more than 2 minutes for shooting, I will. If there are 4 plates and I can't find the 4th one, I'm just going to give up and go and start shooting because now that I'm shooting a proper solo match, I have to think a little bit about how to get the most number of points out of every stage. Okay. I did a ton of practice. I think recoil control is not going to be a major issue, even with a lighter gun in a more powerful cartridge. Okay. Mr. Aaron, what's happening, buddy?
How are you?
Just peachy. I've got your voice. I don't have a video.
I'm working on the video.
All right. Okay. Then I'll keep talking while you're doing that. Where was I? Yeah. Since I'm going to California, I can't put a suppressor on it. Q makes this muzzle brake that I use. It reduces recoil substantially. It does not specifically attack muzzle rise like competition brakes do. But in a little bit of practice I had with this thing, I was able to spot my own shots. So rather than start moving muzzle devices around, I figured I'll. Okay, Aaron disappeared. Must be. Oh, there he is again. Rather than move muzzle devices around, I do have a competition brake on my 6.5 PRC. I figured I'll just stick with this one. Oh, there you go. Now I have video.
Wow, my room is messy.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything, but if you want to make, if you want me to make you feel better about it, I can turn the camera around so you guys can see the rest of my office. All right, let me take the presentation off for a moment. So this is Mr. Aaron Gines of NRK Outdoors. He's been here with me, I think, a couple of times at least. And I've been kind of biding time, giving these guys a long, very, very long-winded, slowly spoken story, waiting for you to chime in on this whole NRL Hunter thing.
Okay.
But anyhow, here's the gist of it. So I'm going to shoot a match in California this coming weekend, and I have been kind of replaying in my head all the multiple ways I screwed up during the match in Arizona. Try to see what I can do to improve my chances of looking less like a retard this time around. So here's what I'm going to do. And Aaron and I did not do any pre-planning, so he does not know this story. Rather than 6.5 Creed, I'm going to shoot my 308 fix. For 2 simple reasons. 1, I have it. 2, I shoot it well. 3, it's my Creed is set up with a suppressor and this one isn't. And 4, I have a ton of ammo for the 308. What I learned during my January match is that the bulk of my problems happened before I ever pulled the trigger. That's the part of this whole scenario where I am easily the weakest. Not that my positional shooting is all that strong, it's not. But if I barely leave myself any time for it, it gets really obnoxious. So the idea is that I need to focus on the non-shooting parts of it. And as far as shooting goes, it doesn't hugely matter what exactly I use as long as it's a rifle I'm reasonably comfortable with and I know the ballistics well. Mr. Northman likes your cap. Nice cap. Is this all making sense so far? Or you can't hear me?
Oh, no, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Right. You with me so far?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I am going to use this gun. And I was just describing what's in it. 5 to 25 tangent tater. You may be somewhat familiar with this scope.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, that is spoken with the sadness of an injured wallet. Okay. I had to give up temporarily on my beloved triple pull Skypod because it's just too heavy to squeeze under 12 pounds. I want to shoot these under 12 pounds. So I put in a Gunworks Elevate, not quite as much adjustment range, but it should be enough. The buttstock and all that is just the usual fixed stuff. Another big change for me, at least that I made, is the grip. I was always historically what I would do. I would ignore all the fancy grips out there, and I would just take the normal grip. And Q had some sort of slim Macbull grip, wrap it a little bit to make it a little bit more comfortable for my hand, and go. What I found during the match in January is that because I was in a rush trying to get into relatively obnoxious for me, well, not so much for me, for my knees, shooting positions, I think my grip was not consistent, and that made my trigger pull not very consistent, especially on the clock. So this is a grip from, I think the company is called Longshot Precision. It's the same guy. Remember him? I don't remember his name, Dave or something like that, who does
Yeah,
that
Dave.
adjustable backrest. Let me see if I can zoom in on the picture so that guys can see it. I was trying to figure out what grip I should use, and then I remembered I have this one. That should zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So it's a nice vertical grip. The clever thing here is that he sells these with that little thumb or finger wraparound thingy on the top. I'm not sure what to call it, spacer maybe? Finger spacer, I don't know what it is. He's got, I think, 3 sizes of it, and you can move it front and back a little bit. I don't have very big hands, so that is the smallest one. I moved in the forward position, and that got my trigger finger set up in just the right spot. And as I got it, my ability to shoot accurately and relatively quickly immediately improved. Go figure, right? Because now my finger is positioned in the exact same spot every time. And the vertical grip also probably helps.
Yeah, I use a vertical grip very similar to this one.
Okay. So I figured most people do. Somewhere deep in my mind, I thought that I was going to be special and be totally fine with another grip. Not that special.
It's not as common as you think outside of the kind of precision rifle world, outside of the PRS.
Mm-hmm.
There's still, we do a lot of education on why you run a vertical grip, why your thumb is on the side of your trigger finger, why you're not wrapping your thumb around.
Yeah.
And you hit on it perfectly. Any type of vertical grip, thumb shelf combination, a lot of chassis have it built in now. But you've got Dave's, you've got our Alpha grip, our Penguin grip, things like that. It creates a repeatable hand position, trigger position, without having to think about it. Like you mentioned earlier, it just, you wrap around and your finger has to go around it. It has to sit in the right spot. And then it's a nice straight back trigger pull.
And what's interesting is that, like, when I have time, I'm not seeing a ton of difference, at least within my shooting abilities. It's when I have to do this quickly, when everything goes to shit.
Yeah, the clock makes a difference. As soon as that buzzer goes off and you've got 2 minutes or 90 seconds, all the fundamentals go out of the door.
Yes. Yeah. And if they were relatively shaky to start with, they don't just go out of the door, they sprint out of the door with flair and abandon. But anyhow, so I switched to this grip. I did not do a ton of industry research. About, was it a year ago, was it? We had at SHOT Show, not this SHOT Show, the SHOT Show in 2024. So Aaron and I and a bunch of other people were having dinner after the range day, and this Dave gentleman was there, and he had a grip, and he gave me a grip. I played with it a little bit. It looked to be reasonably comfortable, and then I forgot about it. And now I remembered about it, and now I know why I got it. So I don't know if it is substantially different from other vertical grips out there, but I think this thumb shell finger
I'll
spacer.
grab one.
You have one on hand? Okay. Okay. I'll let him grab one. Penguin grip. You have two of them. Okay. Well, that's the one. I think Aaron makes that one. So that's probably what he's looking for. You found it?
Yeah. So Dave's a great guy. He makes a great one. He actually holds the utility patent on being able to remove the thumb rest, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think that's a little bit different. So for my other fix, oh, there we go. Oh, that's yours, right?
Yeah, this is the Alpha.
Okay.
So the Alpha grip has it's hollow inside, super light. What it sets it apart from like the Penguin or the other grip is we decided to do a 90-degree instead of a cutback 45. So this is kind of our latest model of vertical grip. We were one of the first ones to innovate with it, but so you can see if you tilt it down, it creates that finger brush.
It's exactly right.
And I run mine like this. So I run my fingertips. So I'm not putting a huge amount of tactile. I'm not cranking on it at all. So I run fingertips, and then you can see how it lines your finger up.
Yeah, I don't do fingertips. I've shot gas guns so much that I can bring myself to do it. With gas guns, you kind of have to hold on to them a little bit. But I learned to shoot gas guns when I lived in California, where we had those retarded fin grips. So I'm used to having my thumb on the same side there. Right? That's how I learned to run ARs. So I very seldom wrap my grip around, which for ARs is a negative, but for bolt guns, being used to that is actually significantly important.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. There's some different things, but one of the cool things is I took a long range class from a buddy, and he's like, I had a hand surgeon in my class, and he's like, this is why you do it. So watch my thumb. Do you see that?
Yep.
See that?
Yeah.
It doesn't do it every time, but you get some movement in that thumb when you pull your finger. So that's one of the reasons you keep it on there.
So quite a few years ago, a guy I know is a phenomenal pistol shooter, like Olympic style pistol shooter, right? And he was, he won world championships in the 70s, an older gentleman a few times. And then he was a coach for the national shooting team for Russia. It has a dual citizenship, and then he coached the shooting team at the Merchant Marine Academy for quite a few years. So I dragged him out to the range with me a few times. It was very interesting to pick his brain. Olympic shooting is such a restricted discipline that they pay attention to the most minute details that I wouldn't even think of. Trying to fix the crooked head. Good luck.
It's super crooked. Like, I don't know. My head looks like sideways.
Yeah, it could be your webcam also. Most webcams are slightly misaligned. They give you the distortion.
Oh, yeah. I can see that. Yeah, that's fine.
But anyhow. So, and we were shooting pistols, and I asked him whether he shoots, where is it? This way. Thumbs down or thumbs up, like we do with 1911s because of the safety. And he went thumbs up, and for the same reason. You try to get this meat of this thumb behind the recoil axis. When you do this, where your thumb is, it doesn't matter what your trigger finger does, your thumb cannot screw anything up. If you go thumbs down, the meat of the base of your thumb here moves sideways a little bit, then any movement of your thumb will screw it up.
That makes sense. I was watching a video yesterday where he's like looking at the target and he goes, this is thumbs. And I was like, what? So it makes sense because you're I learned the other day, here's something for you for handguns. One of my buddies taught me this, and he's, deployed across the world, and his shot with some of the best in the world, and he said, "You take your handgun like a horseshoe, like you're trying." I don't have anything. Like you're holding a horseshoe, right? It comes up. He's like, you
this.
take it and you're trying to squeeze the tips together.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly, squeeze the tips together when you're holding it, and it makes a huge difference. So
Yeah. Have you ever done any full auto shooting, like submachine guns, trying to do these kind of things quickly?
just a little bit. I haven't done a ton.
Well, okay, it's a good way of saying this. There are a lot of different. Every once in a while, when I tell you like a little bit of some story, and I don't want to say the whole thing, I usually started with somewhere in my checkered past. So somewhere in my checkered past, I have had a chance to do a good amount of shooting with very small, full auto guns that are relatively difficult to control. And that's how you hold them, right? So you have pistol grip on one, you want to have a front grip or something on the other, and you squeeze it in like this. Like you're screwing it in, like you're trying to thread it. That's what gives you control.
Yeah, because you're engaging your lats and your arms to hold it down.
When somebody's shooting at you, you engage everything. Very
Exactly.
But anyhow,
I've never been shot at before, so
I don't recommend it. You should talk to your buddy Tony about it. He may have some experience.
What did he say? He's like, I'm fast enough not to get hit or something. I can't remember what it was. He had some funny saying about it. It's better not to get shot or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was funny.
I'll on the whole getting shot thing, I'll defer to Tony. Oh, we need to talk about Tony and his event in a moment.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah. Before we do that, Mr. Alpine goes, when you shoot a Tikka 595 Master Sporter or Mosin Nagant 2876 and other target rifles with proper ergonomics, it's eye-opening. It is eye-opening. A friend of mine has a 595 Master. My cousin does as well. I have a few of those 2876s. It's this biathlon style stock. When you put your hand in it, everything is in the right place. It is different. It is just different. Anyhow, as far as Tony goes, so for those of you who don't know Tony's last name, when I say Tony, I assume you don't automatically know the last name. Aaron introduced me to Tony earlier this year at SHOT Show. Interesting gentleman. He sent me an email earlier today about something called the TRT Sniper Challenge that they're doing. Oh, there you go. I'm going to put up the webpage and share it. Okay. The name is Mr. Tony Cowden. He's been in different special forces for 25, 27 years, something like that. Forever in a Day. If you want to know more about Tony's story, he visited Sean Ryan on his show. It was episode 72. It's 3-something hours of all sorts of interesting things that Tony has done in the past. Interesting guy.
Did you listen to it?
Not the whole thing, bits and pieces. I don't have 3 hours, but I'll work through it as we go along.
Yeah.
The story where when he got shot in his radio, that story I heard. He was in some firefight. His buddy got killed. He took a shot and his radio saved his life, but he couldn't communicate, so he was kind of moving and trying to take out as many ISIS people as possible. And during the after action report, they basically found Tony with just 9 rounds left and his pistol, everything else empty. And somewhere along the path where he was moving along, there were 26 dead jihadis. So, salute to Tony.
Yeah, salute to Tony.
No longer drinks, so I'm going to salute with my tea rather than with the whiskey.
Yeah. He's the reason, that story is the reason the CIA teaches single man QCB because of that incident.
CQB. Close quarter battle.
Yep. So, are you sharing your screen?
I was about to. There we go.
Okay, so I'll read one sentence off of his website about who he is. Tony has 22 years of special operations community, serving over 8 years and 28 deployments in Afghanistan, Iraq, Central Asia, and Africa countries. So that's his military history. But then he's crazy, and he likes to do, or he used to like to do, the 200-mile ultra marathon events. So great dude.
Yeah, you lost me on before even ultra. You lost me on the marathon, but okay. Anyway, nice guy. I liked him. Pleasant dude. I'm not the best judge of character, but I think he's a good man. Uh, and it should be an interesting event. I don't think I'll be able to make it. I've got a family vacation that ends just before this. I don't know if I'd be able to go another trip right after. If they do it again next year, I'll do it as well. I'll do it next year. This is in Montana. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think it's going to be an annual event. So this
Annual?
is on the
Okay.
ranch where his nonprofit takes people hunting. So
Okay.
I think this will be a permanent annual event.
Oh, very cool. So I'm going to be actually hunting in that area, not far from there, this later this year, in the end of October. Uh, I don't know if it's going to be on that range, but I think it's somewhere near there. But anyhow, all the what they do, all of the process, it should be a very cool event. It's a two-man team sniper match. It's not a racking match. You'll do some walking, according to the description, but they're not trying to kill you with endurance. It's a huge, beautiful property, lots of things to shoot at. I think 16 stages, more like Team NRL Hunter thing, with maybe a little more walking. If I understood this correctly.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of walking, but I think there will be
Yeah,
plenty of side by side and vehicle traffic. So
yeah. But anyhow, so Tony says it's not a racking match. You're not going to be too tired. But now that you mentioned that he does ultra marathons, I think his idea of not too much walking and my idea of not too much walking may be different.
yeah, you also have to remember Tony trains the national sniper teams that are headed to the Army, the International Sniper Comp in April, and they don't do a ton of wrecking. It's more all technical shooting.
Okay, all right, okay. I need to find a way to sneak in on that class somehow. That would be good for
He
me.
said he'd get you in if you wanted to.
I want to.
He offered to get me in, so send him a text
Oh, damn
message.
it! No, 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 no! Now it's all ruined.
There you go. I don't
You're
know if
gonna
I'll
be there.
go though because he's not allowed to be there, or he can't be there during the competition. So he'll be there the week before getting them ready, and then he's got to leave. And they basically put the sniper teams in isolation for 2 days, and then they turn them loose into the competition. So it'll be fun to watch. So
Interesting. Yeah. But anyhow, so when does he teach classes? Through the year or?
yeah, so Tony teaches classes throughout the year. Let me just pull up his website because he put his schedule up.
Okay.
So let me
All
pull up
right. I'm
his
gonna
upcoming
stop
classes.
sharing this. If you could, you should be able to share it.
I gotta figure out how to do that. Oh, there's the button right there.
Hmm.
Continuous screen sharing.
And once you share up top, you need to press on presentation.
Mm-hmm. Let's do this and share.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, can you see it? Okay, so this is his classes. He lives in North Carolina. He has a range that he has built and is continuing to build out in North Carolina. Um,
Hmm.
he has I don't know if he's an employee or a partner, former ranger,
Okay. So the company
who
is called Capable Inc. If I can see it
yeah,
correctly.
Capable Incorporated is the name of his training company, and
Hmm.
then I think the name of his range is Clear. I don't remember. Clear Run Sports, I think, is the
Hmm.
name of his range. Anyways, he has a former Ranger or Marine. I don't remember which one. Probably just insulted both branches of the military with that one. But he teaches
Yeah,
classes there almost every day.
I
So
see.
there's a guy that teaches classes there every day. Tony, as we can see on the screen, he teaches classes here and there. So
Hmm.
his North Carolina ones are at his range or close by, and he's not traveling a ton this year in
Hmm.
teaching classes. You can see a lot of them are in North Carolina,
Hmm.
and then there's Kansas City, back to North Carolina, Kansas City, and then he's out in Montana which I believe is at the ranch where the
White Sulphur Springs, yeah, that's the range. Yes.
yeah, it's at the ranch. It's at the range. So the ranch is a huge ranch.
Mm-hmm.
So he's teaching a class out there, which I was going to go up to, but I will be visiting UF Pro that week in Europe, so I
Okay.
won't be
So
there.
I can't do that week either. That's exactly the dates of the Burris Optics Team Challenge in Wyoming. I'll be shooting that one.
Oh, you're so close to him. But then
Anyhow,
he's coming to Utah, to a buddy of mine's range, and we're going to do kind of an intermediate class. So
okay.
September 6th or 13th, he's coming to Utah, and he's going to put on a class. It's not up here yet.
Okay.
Eventually, he'll get it up here. He said he called me this morning and said, "Hey, I got your text message and I missed your phone call, but I will solidify dates tomorrow, and we'll know for sure, and we'll get it up on the website. It'll be really fun." So
Okay, I'm right now checking when Jewish New Year is this year. It moves around, but it's usually in the fall. And if it does not fall in those days, I can do September.
yeah, it should be either September 6th or the 13th. So it'll be probably a handgun carbine class. There is the ability to stretch out a little bit at the range, so
I like carbon. I want to start shooting something like quantified precision semi-auto matches as well. So
yep. Yeah, I mean it's really good. He's got so much practical experience, and there's not a right way. He'll show you 3 or 4 ways, and you can then adapt to your to what works for you, because not everything works for everybody. And one of the cool things about Tony is he's left-handed, but he got blown up. Well, not cool to get blown up, but he got blown up in Iraq, so he had to teach himself in order to continue in the units and different things to shoot right-handed. So he's a left-handed shooter who taught himself, in his late 20s, early 30s to shoot right-handed. So he's like, I know how to teach all you right-handed people how to shoot, because I had to learn. So really, really fun, really interesting.
Well, I'm gonna try to make it. It sounds like a blast, and once again, very interesting guy.
Yeah, and it won't be a typical class of his. We're gonna host him in style. It's really close to my shop. It's on a fellow gun nuts range where they practice QCB every weekend with a former Navy SEAL.
Okay,
And
Aaron, you're gonna trigger my obsessive compulsive thing. CQB.
What did I say?
You say QCB.
Oh, that's my dyslexia going on. CQB. Sorry.
Close quarter battle.
That's my bad. And because in my brain I'm saying it correctly, but
sorry.
I do.
It's
I
just
do
like
that
it's a. Well,
CQB.
you're not gonna get insulted. You already know that I'm weird.
Yeah. Anyways, so they practice. It's a range. We can move stuff around. We can shoot and move. So it'll be. He doesn't really teach intermediate or like beginner classes. He just kind of just teaches, right? And he bases the skill level of who's in his class to how fast he goes and different things. So this will be more of a kind of. I don't think there will be any beginners there. So this will be a little bit of a faster moving class, and we'll provide lunch and do a bunch of stuff. It'll be a great weekend.
Well, tell him that I'm gonna be there, and that I'm gonna introduce a new challenge to him that he has not run into before. No matter how many different good ways of doing it you can show me, I find a way to fuck all of them up. So yeah.
Well, prepared. I think he told you at SHOT Show that he was an infantry grunt and he was good at that. So you'll fit right in.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So
anyway, I screw things up in the most obnoxious and intellectual way. It's different.
But so those are his classes. You can share let's talk about the match.
Yeah, so I want to go back to the match. So the really cool thing about this match is that they're using it as a fundraiser for this nonprofit that they do. And it should be up right around now. There we go. So it's a fundraiser for their nonprofit. What they do, they take people who are active military or just coming out of it, oftentimes people who have a hard time adjusting to the world outside of this, the nonprofit is called The Reason Outdoors, and they take them hunting, fishing, basically take them in the great outdoors to make their lives more bearable. Is that a good way of explaining it?
Yeah, and it's more than just like, hey, show up and hunt.
Yeah.
They introduce them to the whole process. So it's a whole sequence. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they teach them why and how and the nature of it, and then the processing, post processing, all
Mm-hmm.
like the whole life cycle of the hunt. So it's a little different than like some not for profits are like, hey, I'm going to take you hunting. I put the gun up. I dial the scope. You shoot it, and it's like over. Right? No, they kind of
Mm-hmm.
walk you through the whole experience, so that you become a hunter, or you can connect more with nature, and it's more therapeutic, right?
You know, I've ever told you there is this book by a sociologist from New York, and this will probably mark the first time a sociologist from New York did something useful. There is this book called The 3 Day Effect. A company out in Utah, I think Green River, I want to say somewhere out there. They have this organization, it's also a charity. They take veterans with PTSD and arrange this multi-day kind of a river rafting type trip. No cell phones, no computers, no gadgets, no screens, etc. And this sociologist lady went and joined these trips for several seasons, keeping an eye to see what effect it has on people with PTSD. Okay. And what she found was that if you take people with budding psych issues related to past trauma and to the insanity of the modern world with social media, and well, I don't need to explain to you what the insanity of the modern world is, and you get them away from all the gadgets, turns out it takes 3 days to reset. If you go more than 3 days, it's nice, it doesn't have a much better effect. And if you go less than 3 days, there is a beneficial effect, but it's not insignificant. There is something about 3 days that resets our brains. 72 hours outdoors, looking at green stuff, not sitting still, doing something, but not in a rat race, and no internet, no social media, again, no cell phones, no tablets, nothing. There is something about being outdoors in 3 days. I stumbled onto that book purely by accident. I live something of a relatively high stress lifestyle, and burnout is a real thing. That was one of the reasons a few years ago I started hunting, right? I head out into the mountains and I turn off my phone and I turn off my computer, I turn off everything. And a few days out there and I come back good as new. Okay. But that's where I picked up the idea. So what these guys are doing with people taking them fishing, hunting, etc., very likely has a measurable therapeutic effect. Measurable. The amount of data, the amount of pretty decent evidence we have on this is absolutely overwhelming. If you want to help service members facing some levels of PTSD, this is one of the better ways of doing it. Uh, going back to the match, it's going to be a very cool event. Everything they raise goes toward this nonprofit. A bunch of people are donating their time. A bunch of companies are sponsoring at different stages. The title sponsors, I think, Silencer Core, right?
Yep.
I
Tony
think
has
so.
a really good relationship with him.
Yeah. So I think Aaron's NRK Outdoors is going to sponsor stage, I assume, or I don't know if you're doing something for price tables.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually just responded to an email with my chief operations officer. We'll either do there's 3 or 4 tiers, and there's two of them we're debating between,
Okay.
but we will
Okay.
be involved. I will most likely be up there, ROing.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a 7-hour drive from my house, so not
That's
too
not that
bad.
bad. Yeah, it's a little further than that for me. But anyhow, I forwarded that email to a few companies I know, encouraging them to support these efforts, and we'll see. Hopefully, they'll get plenty of sponsors, and the fundraiser will be successful. And this makes me think that I need to bring Tony on here. I have a very minor live stream, podcast, live cast, whatever you want to call it. But that should be an interesting conversation. I need to go take a class with him and then bring him on a live stream to see if he still wants to talk to me after that.
You know what? I was I don't remember how I got to know Tony. It's so weird because like you and I have talked about this before. It's like sometimes, you know, like you meet someone on the internet and you're like, "Hey, I know him," or like he's a friend. But like like my relationship with Tony is he calls and texts me, not every day, but he calls and texts me and he responds and he picks up the phone when I call him. And it's just so weird. The internet's such a crazy place that we got connected a couple of years ago, and since then it's been just an incredible journey. And I've done the same thing with Ilya and a lot of other people. The internet is both a destructive and a very useful place. But so he told me I needed to come. Well, he asked me to come help him with a pistol class in June that he was teaching in Provo, Utah. And when we got within a week, I texted him and I was like, "Hey, what do I need to bring so I can support your class? What do I need to bring?" He's like, "Bring your battle belt and your gun and come shoot." So that was my introduction to his classes. Instead of helping him, I shot the class with the class, and it was fun and eye opening. He just has a very unique teaching style, and it works. It works very, very well.
Well, like I said, I'll need to look the schedule and talk to him. I mean, he's in North Carolina, somewhere not far from Fort Bragg. I do some work out there occasionally.
Yeah, he lives
So,
he lives an hour northwest of Wilmington.
okay, yeah, I know where that is. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Anyhow,
like kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
that's more or less, I make it out there occasionally, so I'll see if I can game it a little bit and add a couple of days to a trip and go take a class. Anyhow, we've been talking about Tony and competitions for a while, and it's easy, to get sidetracked. Tony is as legitimate of a war hero as we have these days, so he is a distracting topic. Okay, but I titled this thing NRL Hunter, and we were talking about this funky vertical grip. Mr. Northman over there said he has a couple of penguin grips. Aaron showed the more updated alpha grip that has this squarish thumb rest finger spacer, which in terms of shape looks very similar to the one on this long shot precision grip that I have. The only real difference is that on a long shot precision one, it's removable, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, very cool. So to my unending surprise, switching to this grip proved to make an immediate difference once I started running the clock. So that was quite surprising. Aside from not running a suppressor and changing the bipod in the grip, I'm more or less doing the same thing I did last time. The same bag. I've got a different way to connect the bipod and the rifle to the bag. There is this company called OBI. OBI stands for Old Bowls Inc. Okay. Do you know that one, Aaron?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, it's spectacular. I'm gonna show you what this thing looks like. I didn't take good pictures, but I have pictures on the website. So when you're walking around at the NRL Hunter match, carrying the tripod and the rifle all in your hands gets old real fast. I do have a sling for the rifle, but it kind of catches on shit, which I did not like. And when I went there to the match in January, I saw several people use this, and it made total sense. Let me share this picture. Okay, there you go.
Oh yes, I have seen these.
Yeah,
I didn't know
it's
that's what the acronym started for, but yeah.
I think when you look at the email of the guy at the contact, it says Sky. I think it's the guy who invented the Sky bipod. He got bought out by MDT, then he started this company. It's my best guess.
Yeah, he still works for MDT.
Okay, good for him. I don't know, but anyhow, see this little thingy? You should be able to see my mouse. It attaches to the strap of your backpack, and then a little adapter attaches to your bipod or rifle or whatever else. You can just hang it on there. So you have something easily accessible. Just grab it, lift it, and it's in your hands. Or your hands are free when you need them to be free. Okay, this is what these things look like. The link system, this guy, clamp lock, that's basically what attaches to a thinner strap. They have different versions. I just got the one that attaches to the backpack. I've got two of them on two sides, and that's gonna make just again a lot of what I learned during the during the January match is just gear management, right? I'm just trying to get all this stuff to not get in my way, so that I can move it efficiently, place it where it needs to be efficiently, and not having get in the way when I don't use it. Okay, that if it takes you, if you lose 10 seconds on just getting everything out of the pack and all that, these are the 10 seconds you're going to need when you're trying to shoot the last plate. Okay. So highly recommended. I am going to play with it a little bit more as we go along, and my first field use is going to be during this match. Okay. Another interesting thing that I learned is that, well, I kind of knew that, but now I learned it on the clock, is that when you're old and your knees hurt, shooting off your knees can be an interesting experience. My basic problem is not so much standing on my knees, and like I'm a married man, standing on my knees and begging is a normal thing, right? But what I cannot do when if you're trying to get low, how people just sit all the way back on their heels.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're younger than I am. You can probably still do it. 10 years ago, I could do it. I can no longer do it. So what I found is that if I take a shooting bag of some sort and put it right behind my knee joint and lean on that, then all of a sudden I can do this.
Temporary chair.
Exactly. It can be a very thin bag. I mean, the bag is literally this big. I just need something behind my knee. So I bought a lightweight bag from Coltec that weighs nothing, and I'm going to be going into this match with two bags. I have a Game Changer X, which weighs about 10 pounds. As far as shooting bags go, I think it is still the most stable I've seen to date. And as a supplementary bag, I'm going to carry this little ultra lightweight bag from Coltec, primarily to be able to put it behind my knee if I need to be kneeling. I was out practicing earlier today, just experimenting with the tripods and stuff, where with the shooting off of a bag on a tripod with another bag behind my knee, I was quite comfortable hitting plates out to 800 yards with my 308 with a little bit of wind, and it was not painful. So does it mean I'm going to be able to do all of that on the clock? No. But one other thing, and tell me you have a lot more match experiences. One other thing that I remember is that when I was trying to shoot off of my triple pull with a tripod rear and all that, moving all that gear around took more time than I care to admit.
Yeah, so and I'm not very good with a tripod rear support. You have to practice tripod rear. Like it's just grab a ladder in your garage and it's just learning to manipulate the tripod leg and how to make sure it doesn't collapse and moving around with it. I'm not very good with it. I need to practice it.
I thought I was good with it, but there was one stage where it's absolutely screwed me over.
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy thing, and the guys that do it well, it's because they practice. Yeah. Like it makes me really jealous because I do most of my PRS shooting in the 22 realm, and it's rear tripods frowned upon. But
is it illegal or frowned upon?
Oh, in NRL 22, it's not allowed. In PRS, it's allowed, but you only use rear tripod in very certain circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it does take a lot of time to manipulate the tripod.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to deploy it. It takes a lot of time to do different things, and you structure your shooting position differently, right? You want a bag out on your spigot so
Mm-hmm.
that you're creating as much distance between it and
Correct.
the
Yeah.
tripod leg.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a very different approach. And over the last couple of years, I've taken the approach of one bag. It's a
Yeah.
55-gallon drum. It's a barricade. It's a ladder. It's a tinning trap. One bag and just shooting off of that one bag. Now the NRL Hunter stuff is a little different. I haven't shot one, but you're using lighter rifles and you're shooting
Mm-hmm.
off of non-stable props, and it's kind of more of what's naturally occurring in the field from what I've seen of them. So
Honestly,
it's a little
they give
different.
you some props, but at least in the January match, I didn't have to shoot any of the props if I didn't want to.
Yeah, and not to bring Tony Cowden back up, but Tony, I hosted a long range class with Tony out at one of the properties I have with targets on it, and it was really good. It was kind of a refresher. I helped him, but he taught them how to deploy a tripod. And I was like, hold up. I went to the truck, got my tripod out there, and I practiced with them. And it was very, very interesting. He showed me one simple trick on how to deploy a tripod to your height, and it works if you're sitting on your butt, if you're kneeling on
Mhm.
your knees, or if you're standing. And the other thing that Tony does, because he shoots the hunter matches, is he doesn't use tripod rear support very often. He just clips into his tripod. He's
Yeah,
like, "Hey, they said I could put my tripod over the top of the prop
exactly
or
right. I was
whatever."
getting to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Tony, if you watch Tony's social media, he spends a lot of time shooting off the top of his tripod.
So
A
so do
lot of
I.
time. So
So do I, and I barely used it during the January match because what I did, I was paired with a pro, and I was trying to do what he does. I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel. This
and
time, I'm gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, there's a caveat to that.
Hmm.
Yes, you want to watch what the pros do, but a lot of guys, especially new competitors in PRS or NRL 22, is they will watch what that person does and they'll try and mimic it. I stopped doing that. I approach it how I approach it now. Do I consult with some of my friends and do we kind of tease a little bit what works here, what works there? But like if I look at him and be like, man, he cleaned that, but that's not a comfortable position for me. I'm going to approach
Correct.
it very differently.
So in NRL Hunter, you generally don't get to see other people shoot it. So these are blind stages.
Exactly.
So this was my one chance to go see somebody shoot. So I willfully decided I'm just going to try to do what he does, knowing some of the things are not going to be optimal for me. But this was my one chance to watch somebody very, very good do it and try it. And now going into the next match, I'm thinking through it and doing how would I do it given my limitations, both in terms of being not specially limber anymore and not being that good. I mean, the guy I shot with, Chris, he's good. So my plan is to, unless they force me to shoot off of the props, to ignore them. My version of the tripod rear that I'm relatively good at is to use a triple pull in the front and tripod in the back, load it forward while sitting on my ass. I'm actually good at that one. I'm not going to do that. I don't have a triple pull
Oh,
with me, and I don't want to putz with it.
yeah. Okay. So next time you get your tripod out, Ilya,
Hmm.
deploy it to the while standing. Deploy it to where the ball head touches the bottom of your chin.
Hmm.
Then deploy the legs. Put your rifle on it, and tell me if it's not the perfect height. And then get on your knees. Do the same thing. Deploy it to the bottom of your chin. Spread the legs. Put your rifle on top. It will be
It's
within an inch or two of where it should be.
yeah. So it should be about right. Except what I did, I used that two segment tripod from Sunway, the inverted leg one that Max has.
Yeah, I need to get one of those.
It's actually a nice tripod, but what I found is that in its position where you just open the legs, if I'm trying to shoot kneeling, I have a plate and a bag on it. It's a little bit too high for me. And to make it lower, you need to start spreading the legs wider and doing all of that in the clock with small levers is not
Yeah,
happening.
there's pros and cons to everything. So
Uh,
that's why
this
you
match, yeah, that's why you try, right? So
yeah,
this,
it's why you use your gear and you practice with it.
yeah, correct. So on top of it, this time around, I'm driving to California for this because I have a work trip. I have a ton of stuff I need to take with me. It so happens to wait. I have some appointments on Friday, and I have to spend the whole week at the Navy base there the week after. That's why, since I'm staying over the weekend, I'm going to go shoot a match. But I'm taking a different tripod. It's not an inverted leg. It's one of the tripods from Field Optics Research that I'm testing, and it's one of those dome top ones. It's not a bad tripod at all, but it collapses a lot smaller because when I'm flying back, having a smaller tripod is very beneficial for me. And with that one, what I found is that if I basically take that tripod and just extend one extension, it's at just at the right height for what I need to do to get on my knees and glass or shoot.
Yep. Yep. Just practice with it with your chin.
Yeah.
Sit on your butt. Just extend to the chin.
When you shoot off the tripod, do you clip into the tripod or do you have a plate and a bag?
Clipping into the tripod.
So
you might have to be a little bit lower.
I need to be a little bit lower because I shoot off the bag.
Maybe at the bottom of your neck, right?
So I did this experiment a couple of days ago. I shot off of the same tripod, clipped it to the tripod with a plate and a game changer bag, and then with a plate and a lightweight Coltec bag, shooting on paper for groups. And I am clearly better with a heavy game changer on the plate, followed by clipped into the tripod, followed by a lightweight field bag, which was interesting.
Which to me makes sense, right? Because the heavy bag, one, is pushing your tripod down, two, your gun sinks into it better.
Correct.
And I mean, that to me is a no-brainer.
Lots of things are no-brainer, and then half of them turns out to be different when you try them, right?
Yeah, and interesting. Like I've been shooting precision rifle for 10 years. So I've been competing for 10 years. I'm a decent NRL 22 competitor, PRS competitor. I'm mid-pack in centerfire. I haven't shot centerfire for a little bit. But what I've learned, my scores went up exponentially when I balanced my rifle correctly, when I stopped changing stuff, and I went to one shooting bag.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that since 21, and my scores are consistent, right? They're consistently in the same place, and if I practice more, they'd probably go up. But and that's all I did is I stopped changing gear. I stopped doing different things. I balanced my rifle completely, and it made a huge difference, right? And a lot of times it's just that simple thing. And the other thing is so did you ever? I know you used to do, or you still do Muay Thai or the stick stuff.
I do Muay Thai, sticks, knife, and everything
do you ever compete? Do you ever do rounds?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I wrestled in high school, right? You're 6 minutes on the mat, all the lights are on you, it's just you. I attribute that mentality to when the buzzer goes off. And I have found the opposite is true with me than with you. I shoot better and faster on the clock than I do off the clock. And I also shoot better and faster if I can talk to someone behind me.
Yeah.
Like they're telling jokes and I'm laughing with them because I'm not thinking about the mechanics. I'm letting my body flow. Just flow through it. My body knows how to. I've done this for 10 years. But my body knows how to do it. The moment I start second guessing myself and I start getting frustrated. So the last match I shot, I actually put headphones in before the stage, and I put myself into a different mindset, and then it's just automatic, up, down, and I got a talking timer, right? The timer will be like 50 seconds, and I'm like, cool, be like 30 seconds. Well, I always mistake 30 for 10. I just don't hear it very well, so I'm like, but it is what it is. It's you have to put yourself under pressure of the timer. To get used to it. And some people, the timer just freaks their brain out. And other people, the timer just is amazing. Like it just, as soon as the timer clicks, you enter the boxing ring, you step onto the mat, you're a different person. Right. And that's something that you could take a look at is how do you get the time? How do you stop thinking about the time and just let your body flow?
So historically, going through school, academically, I was very, very good at taking tests.
I suck at taking tests so
I'm,
bad.
I'm spectacular at taking. Was I mean, I don't know how it is now. It's been a while. Like when I went to business school, I had the highest GMAT and I'll hold #1 in the nation program at the time, simply because I'm just good at taking tests. All these time pressure tests don't do shit for me. My Muay Thai experience, unfortunately, is not going to be directly relevant because of the specifics of how I approach martial arts, and what I do there only works for me. I'm roughly the size of the rhinoceros with an appropriate temper. I move forward and hit things really hard, and I'm ambidextrous. And the way I fought when under pressure, basically, I have plan A and no plan B. I'm going to move forward, and if you're stupid enough to still be there when I get there, it's not my problem. It's not it does not translate especially well to fine motor skill sports, right? I play tournament level table tennis, of all things, right? And when I get nervous, when the time pressure is on, I revert back to my the way I handle pressure in the Muay Thai, because that's my primary sport. That's what I've been doing the longest. It does not work well with fine motor skill sports. So I don't know how I'm gonna handle it with the shooting sports.
I've got a drill for you to do. Okay. So I call it the 10-second drill. It's actually called the one-shot drill. So find a very stable barricade, put a 1 MOA target at 400 yards, so 4-inch target at 400 yards. And then what you're trying, and I have a video that I did with Morgan King. Morgan King's a 2-time national champion, second place international champion. He walks you through it, and we shoot drills back and forth. I'll send you the link to the video. It's on Anarchy's YouTube channel. But I got to spend, I don't know, I spent a whole day with Morgan, and that was in 2020, I think. And then I made a few changes to how I set up my rifles in late 2020 and 2021. And my scores and my not competitiveness, but my competency level went up higher because of that. And the premise of the one shot drill is to is to do the things that aren't important quickly, and then overemphasize the important things. So the reason I call it a 10 shot drill is because if you're of Morgan King or like a decent shooter's level, they do this in 10 seconds, and then in competition they cut it to 6. They can build a position, acquire the target, and crack around with an impact in 6 seconds. So they speed it up. So while you're practicing, it should be 10 to 12 seconds, right? And then when the clock goes on, you speed it up because your body's used to it. So you get a shot timer, you click go, and you're looking to build the position, acquire the target, run your bolt as fast as you can, right? Gun down, on target, bolt forward, and then it's breathe, and then it's very slowly breathe out, trigger pull. He says overemphasize the trigger pull. So during the video, he's like, you have to count to 3 on your trigger pull. Try pulling a trigger for 3 seconds. It will drive you absolutely mad. But what it taught me is if I can build the position, acquire the target in 2 to 3, 4 seconds, I can take 3 seconds on a trigger pull and my shot cracks perfectly, right? I'm not jerking the rifle. I'm not anxious. So you get behind the rifle and you go 1, 2, 3, crack, and it feels like 5 minutes. And if you watch the video, you'll see he'll be like, "That's a second and a half trigger pull." Like, are you kidding me? It felt like a minute. So he's like, again and again, and we did it over and over and over again, and it's just one shot. Because a lot of guys for like PRS or NRL Hunter, they'll go out and like shoot 200 rounds. Well, you can actually get more training out of 10 rounds if you do one-shot drills than you can out of 100.
So do you start this thing standing, rifle on the ground, or how do you do it?
Just like a stage, right? Yeah, all gear in hand. and you drop it, right?
Yeah.
So
Drop,
unlike the
get
NRL,
one shot going.
yeah, unlike the NRL Hunter, you got to pull everything out of your backpack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you can train that. What you're having problems is you're getting anxious and you're get on the gun and now it's like time. So that's where the one shot drill will slow you down. It will help you emphasize the important things, right? You want to overemphasize the important things, which is breathing, natural point of aim, and a very good trigger pull. And then as you practice that, you speed it up. And then you go, okay, we're going to match speed. So the goal is 6 to 8 seconds on target, round cracked, impact, right?
Very cool.
And you're shooting at a 4-inch. You're shooting at a 4-inch target, which is extremely difficult to hit at 400 yards. So you've got a small target. You've got to be perfect on the fundamentals. I think in the video I hit it once out of 10 shots. Like it's just, but I'm overemphasizing the trigger pull. I'm breathing, natural point of aim. I'm blocking out the whole world. The only thing that matters is those 10 to 12 seconds.
Very cool.
How do I build the position quick? And then how do I breathe into that 3-second trigger pull? And count it out loud because it will drive you nuts because you're going to feel like it takes all day because you're used to, target acquired, bolt down, bam. Well, I just jerked everything. So you do that nice.
So you do the breathing thing, and once you get the respiratory pause, 1, 2, 3, palm.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the chat here in a second.
Yeah, drop it in the chat. That will be helpful if you guys want to try and let me know how it goes.
It's me interviewing Morgan King, right? It's, hey, teach me how to do this. Show me how to do this. And he shoots and I shoot and he shoots and he sits there and critiques both ways. So someone in the video was like, someone in the comments was like, shut up and let him talk. And I was like, you don't know how shy Morgan King is. Like if I don't ask him questions, it seems like I'm stepping over him. But if you don't ask him the questions, he doesn't talk. So it's, hey, I'm forcing him to actually take what he's thinking in his brain and put it out so everyone can see it. Look at that. It's got 12,000 views. It needs more views.
All right, guys, let's do it. Okay, use only sent it to Rumble Studios only. You need to select all.
I thought
next to the message. Nope.
It is. All is selected.
It says only Rumble Studio. I don't think you guys can see it. Can you?
I'll try again.
Do it one more time.
Only Rumble, donations private. I have it. I have all selected. You might have to just copy it and send it to everybody.
Yeah, I'll let me do it. I'll post it.
But it's an incredible video. And then I think there's another one where he actually walks through a whole stage where he goes, this is what I do before the stage starts. I check my windage, I check my gun, I check scope caps, I check level, magazine. And then he walks through how he would do a stage. And we picked one where a tractor tire is inside another tractor tire. So he's using tripod rear. And he kind of just walks through his mentality of the stage.
Very cool. That's rich. So we started talking about this, got sidetracked a little bit. So my plan for this one, unless they require me to use one of the props, is to basically ignore them. When I can shoot prone, I'm going to shoot prone. When I cannot shoot prone, I'm going to shoot with a bag on a tripod off of that bag, kneeling with the second lightweight bag behind my knee. I want to drill it down to just 2 shooting positions so that I don't have to spend time figuring out what might work best for that stage. Again, my biggest problem is not shooting. My biggest problem is finding the targets twice, first with the binocular, then with the rifle scope. So I'm going to try to minimize the amount of time I spend on setup and focus on finding the targets and shooting them from one of the 2 shooting positions I'm willing to use. Is that making some sort of sense?
Makes sense to me.
Right. Now, I don't know if that approach is going to work. I may have to diversify it for future matches. I'm new at this, right? So I'm trying. But that's one of the takeaways I got from the January match. Don't these guys who are very very good, and you're probably one of them, right? You have a lot of different shooting position options available to you, and you are quite competent from probably a lot of them. I'm not. I can shoot prone adequately well, and it so happens because of hunting, I practice shooting off of the tripod a lot because up in the mountains here with weird rock formations, I'm very seldom have a chance to go prone. So I can shoot sitting or kneeling or standing off of the tripod. That's what I do. So I'm gonna just try to use that and see if that works for me. It might still not be good enough. I'm not that good a shot, but I think it will make the whole experience smoother.
I dropped a couple other links. One is Morgan's walkthrough, and then
Okay.
one is one. So they all have second. Like, I don't know. I copied the link with the seconds. The last one I pasted is watch Morgan King move. It was like this was like 5-position stage in like 12 rounds, I think. At 77 seconds, watch him move and set at the new position. He had 15 seconds left when he began the move to the last position, and he got 3 rounds off in like 6 seconds. So you take that into consideration. You watch him shoot the one shot drill video, and then watch him in real time in the other video. Like he's going slow, and then he calls time 15 seconds. He builds his position in like 4 seconds and puts 3 rounds downrange on target in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, he's a world-class shooter. He is, but watch his trigger finger while he's doing it. Right? He's running the bolt fast, he's on target, the gun's not bouncing, the gun is stable, but watch his trigger finger. It's the same every time. Same amount of pressure, same reflex. It's just and that's what you got to do. It just takes time and practice.
So do you see him visibly slow down, fast, run the bolt, get the trigger, then stop, and then pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Is there that stop in there?
But to him, it's like a second and a half to do the whole thing. Like, and then he stops, boom, and then it's boom. So you'll have to just watch the video. We can do another live stream after you watch it. But the whole, I filmed him for the whole stage, and so if you go back a minute or so, you can watch him shoot the whole stage, and you'll see at the very end they called time, and instead of getting flustered, he moved, settled, and just round. It was incredible to watch. So
very, very, very cool. Nice. Okay. So
bring your gun out to Utah. Let's do a practice session.
Once I come out to Utah, right? So we are at the end of February. I was already on 6 work trips this year. Until I slow down, spend a little bit of time at home, my wife is not super excited about recreational trips.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. But if you want to come out here, come on over, stay at my house. I have a private range.
Where are you? You're in
Albuquerque.
New Mexico.
Yeah. I don't have a private range. I'm a member at the private range, so it's always available. So.
Yeah. So
very cool. Okay, so just aside from that, I'm trying to think if I missed anything of my thought process, but I think that's largely it. Another thing I was talking about earlier, thinking about shooting positions, I willfully decided to forgo my triple pull bipod. That gives me a lot of positional options in order to stick with the tangent, because I wanted to have the best glass I have on there, given the difficulties I have with finding targets. And I'm gonna.
You don't have the weight to put a red dot on top of it, do you?
I do.
You have a red dot on top of that rifle?
I do not, but I can put one on.
Yeah. So I am the world's worst at target acquisition. You can literally be like, "Hey, see that Windex bottle?" I'll be like, "What Windex bottle?" Like it's bad. And I've gotten better over the last 10 years. I started hunting. I started like actually looking for animals. I've gotten much better. But I put a red dot on top of my rifle, and I can look with the naked eye, and then when I go to the stage, my rifle is coming down in line with the target, and then as I bring my head down, as I'm following my rifle down, I can see through the red dot the target, and then when I bring my head to the glass, I'm within a half a mil in the reticle of my target.
How
My
interesting.
red dot on rimfire is zeroed for 80 yards. My center fire one I usually put about 450 yards. And
That's an
with
interesting
that,
idea. I is your dot piggybacked or offset to the side?
it's right on top. So on top.
See, on this gun, I don't have the mount to put it right on top.
Just text Craig.
No, that's the I have a couple of Craig's mounts, but this scope has a different mount
Yeah.
because it's been in that mount for a decade.
That's
It's
what
a
I'm
nice
saying.
mount.
Just text Craig.
Yes. And I don't have time to change it because I'm leaving on Thursday day after tomorrow.
I mean, you could offset it too,
Yeah.
right? You can offset it if you want, but like, so imagine the barricade,
Yeah.
right? Here's the barricade. As I'm coming down,
No, I understand. I
I'm
understand what
pulling
you
the
mean. I
rifle,
understand what you mean.
so I'm coming down completely in line, right? So
I understand what you mean. I think piggyback makes more sense, but I do not have a mount that will clamp on a 34 millimeter ring and be tall enough to reach above the tangent turret.
yeah, it's
I'll look around and see.
yeah. Eventually get one and try it,
Yeah,
or put it on a different gun and just
yeah.
try it. So I have a
No,
friend.
no, I will. I fully intend to. On my other gun, where I use Craig's Area 419 mount, there is a top rail. So I'm gonna boom. I'm gonna move the impact on the on a handguard anyway, and I'm gonna put a red dot onto
Yeah.
the
So
rail.
I used to get made fun of all the time for it.
Mhm.
Oh, he can't see. Just look over your turret. Look next to your turret. It's like, why? If I can pay to play, I'm gonna pay to play. Like, put
No,
the
no,
red
no.
dot up
So
there,
my
and
rifle as is about 11 pounds, and I got I got a weight and put it on in the front a little bit to balance it slightly better. Now it's about 11 and a half, something like that.
okay, yeah. I mean, eventually, just try the red dot.
I will.
It helped me so much with target acquisition. I don't run a gun without one because
I
why handicap
I will try
yourself,
it.
right?
I will try
Like,
it.
so it's one less thing you have to worry about, right? You already are anxious on the clock. You're
Mhm.
already, oh, I gotta do this or whatever. Like the red dot just makes it easy. And one of my buddies I shoot with, it's been my life goal to beat him in a match, and I've beat him once out of all the matches we've ever shot. I'm like, I can die now. I beat you finally. Um, he just had me order him 2 Holosun 509s, and he put it on top of his scope the other day, and he's like, why didn't I do this 4 years ago? Like, it's just
I
it's
I'll
that.
give it a shot. I will not use a Holosun, but I'll use something else.
Yeah, use whatever you want. So
Yeah.
I like the Holosuns because they have solar panels in them and stuff. So,
Yeah, I don't know. They make very nice red dots. I have some issues with the company.
yeah, it is what it is. So
Yep. I just received couple different couple new shield sites, and
yeah, you got
I
all
will
the
put it
optics
together.
connectives. I'm the poor peasant here who just has to beg and steal whatever he can.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with optics. But anyhow, I have a few red dots laying around. I just need to figure out the appropriate mount.
Just duct
And
tape it. The only issue I've ever found with the red dot on top of my rifle is sometimes it won't go through the hole on a barricade. Or you get those stupid old metal folding
Mhm.
chairs like in NRL 22. They're like, stick it through the middle of the chair. So it's like, I can't, I have to run a really thin bag when I do
Yeah.
that because
Mhm.
or I just ignore the red dot and I pull the gun back farther
Yes.
than I usually would.
Okay.
But I,
Well, that's good.
but
In
I
NRL
hit it.
Hunter, that's not a problem. So
But I hit. So someone asked me once, have you ever shot a target with your red dot? And I hadn't until last fall.
oh,
I
really,
was we had like a 10-yard target, and then you had to parallax out to 175 yards with the 22. On my last transition, they called, like, I was like, time 10 seconds. I was like, screw it. I pulled the gun up. I moved positions, and as I was putting the gun down there, like 3 seconds, and I saw the target in the red dot, closed the bolt and pulled the trigger, and I went bang. I was like, yes. So I have used the red dot once to shoot at the close target in competition.
Anyhow, I'll figure out. I'll figure out the mount. I have area for 19 34mm mount, but it's sitting. I've got a Delta Javelin scope in it, and I'm finishing testing it. I don't want to break it up. So I think for this match, I'm gonna stick with what it is. But I'll for the next one, I'm shooting another one in April. I'll shoot that one with the red dot.
I'll send you a picture of what mine looks like, just so you can kind of. It's in an area 419, but I'll take a picture over the top, and I'll take a side picture. And
I understand. I have plenty of piggyback red dots on low power variables on ARs. I'm very used to shooting with them.
Okay,
I do this all the time. It just never occurred to me to do it in a precision rifle, right? So.
Okay, I got an optics question for you.
Go for it.
I need an optics for a 6-arc a gas gun. So okay. I'm trying to decide, do I put a 4018 Mark IV on it, or do I put something else on it?
What they're gonna do with that gas gun?
Plink with it and maybe shoot. You know what? I would like to be able to clip the thermal on in front of it, chase bunny rabbits or coyotes or whatever with it. So that's kind of the thought process.
Interesting.
And probably
how much
800
money
yards.
Are you willing to spend?
How much money am I willing to spend? I spend whatever it takes typically.
Well, there are a lot of options. Just in different price ranges, you just need the kind of.
I don't know if I want to spend tangent theta or zero compromise money, but
very understandable.
I'm not scared of a couple of grand for an optic.
Any reticle preferences?
Something with 2/10 hashes in it. So I'm a PMR2 guy. I love the quarter mil dots in the PMR2. But I like the Mil XT. I like the Razor Gen 3 EBR 7C, whatever's in the Gen 3. Mm-hmm. So I like 2/10 hashes, and I like a floating dot. That's. Mm-hmm. But with a thermal, does it need to be illuminated?
It helps because you'll be using the thermal on very low power.
Yeah, so I need illumination. So that's another factor.
Illumination. Right? Anyhow, I was just gonna show you something since we were talking about a 6-arc. That's not it. Hold on.
Need one of those too.
Yeah.
So I actually use on that. I actually use a. I have a carabiner on a lanyard with a QD, so I use that. Very very similar, but it's amazing.
Yeah, this thing, like, there's no carabiner or nothing. You just lift it up and it's off the mount. Anyhow, the rifle you're looking at is a Minifix bolt gun, chambered for 6-arc. Amazingly. Built around the 16-inch proof carbon fiber barrel. This is ostensibly my daughter's gun, but I have some serious misgivings about letting go of it. It's the sweetest shooting gun I have. Earlier today, practice off the tripod. I was nicely plinking things at 800 yards with it, kneeling off the tripod. Just beautiful. The scope I am testing on it right now is this new Telson 3-18 by 50.
Oh, that's right.
So something in that general size range for general plinking, etc., would be my recommendation for using behind the clip-on. You want something relatively low power on the low end with wide field of view, so no more than 3. And even lower might be better, but there's not a ton of them. And if you want to put a thermal in front of it, it also helps if it's not too long. This one is not too long, not too short. It's a decently sized scope. The Mark IV 4.5 to 18 with many thermal clip-ons, you're going to struggle on low power. Okay.
So and what about a 2 to 12 or what did you say 12? This was? Did you say this is a 3 to 18?
This is 3 to 18. That will work. 2 to 12 with the thermal will work better, but for plinking, given your competition guide, you like 3 to 18 or 2.5 to 15 more.
Yeah, I think I mean
Yeah.
very rarely do I shoot above 18 power. Like once I shoot the 22, right? The 22 with a red dot, man, I crank that bad boy up.
Yeah,
So,
correct.
but I'm also
Link,
shooting quarter-inch targets, like so.
Yeah. So Link is saying Razor HD, LHD 4.5 to 22 for the 6 arc gas gun. Yes, if he didn't have to put a thermal in front of it. The moment thermal comes into the picture, you really want to have more field of view on low magnification. And with front focal plane scopes, some of the reticles are relatively thin, so you do want illumination. So Telson is actually a pretty good option. I just did a test of a bunch of scopes of this type. A new scope I'm testing right now is there's Leapers Integrix 3 to 18 by 44. They finally released the production version of shot, so I have one. And optically and mechanically, it looks to be very, very nice, and it's short. I'm not crazy about the reticle, but it does give you 0.2s. The reticle, I think, is a little bit overbearing. The reticle in a Telson is likely to serve you better. If you want to play with the 2 to 12 and just see how it works, I have something in 2 to 12 in the safe that I don't use. But you need the dialable turrets, right?
It would be helpful.
Yeah. I have a Black Hound, Japanese Black Hound 2 to 12 by 44, but they have covered turrets. I could send you that one.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not scared to buy, different things because
No, it's not about buying different things.
I can find a home for a 2 to 12 if I decide not to put it on that gun.
Yeah. So the catch is that this way you can go play with something before you figure out what really works for you for this gun, right? So
yeah, that would work. No, this Telson looks very interesting. The price point looks really good,
and work with them. They're new. They want publicity. You want to be out there, so talk to them.
Reticles, the reticle's actually decent.
Shocking.
Yeah, did you design it? Because it looks good.
I was involved. Yeah.
And which one's the mill and which one's the MOA? Click here.
PH2 is the mill. PH1 is MOA.
Well, they're not very good at describing that on their website. So, what about the PDF?
It's a learning process.
Yeah, their website is a learning process for sure.
So I have a video on that reticle that's on my YouTube channel that I published not long ago. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, that reticle is what I like, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have a very specific reticle design philosophy. What I did with the guys from Telson is that I didn't design a reticle for them. It was many months of a back and forth trying to get them to design a reticle with my input, and a lot of that was going, no, this is why, no, that doesn't work, here's why. But there we go. I wonder if I can let me do something. It's a PH2 reticle. There we go. Will it play in the video or not?
It looks like it's playing.
Third mode. Yeah, there you go. It is playing. So I'm gonna put a link to the video so that I'm not gonna make you watch the whole thing. Though by my start, it's not very long. It's like 6 minutes.
Yeah, we got a comment there. Razor LHD
4.5 to 22. It's a great gas gun scope, but 4.5 on the low end is too high for thermals.
Yeah.
So anyhow, it's playing too slowly. I'm not gonna make you suffer through it.
I'll watch it afterwards. So
I'm just gonna try to find a snapshot.
If I actually look at these two reticles closely, I could probably figure it out.
Yeah. There we go. So this should be good. There we go. You see it?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So the center is relatively open. The tree is not supposed to be super prominent on low power, but the primary stadia are supposed to be visible. Even on low power,
They've
still very
illuminated
visible.
the central core of the reticle.
Yes, they, sure. Um,
Or you, or whoever designed
yeah,
it.
but basically, yeah, that's the way I like to do the illumination. I don't like to illuminate the whole thing on scopes like this.
Yeah, because the bottom just it's too much illumination, right?
Yeah,
You get towards the
exactly.
bottom, and it's like
Yeah,
you lose
that's
your
what
night vision.
it's not just night adaptation. Even if it's fairly dim, there's just so much to look at. Your eye naturally focuses just on the reticle tree rather than looking through the scope at the target.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I will send a text message and see,
Yeah.
because I'm
You know,
not in a hurry to put something on top of it, so I can wait.
well, like I said, in terms of reticle style, this is a good option. Um, and it's actually a pretty decent scope. So I was just out in the mountain. I did a live stream on Sunday to talk about it. I was out in the mountain with my 11-year-old son looking at scopes, and we got out there before sunset, and we spent a lot of time looking at scopes side by side: the Burris XTR3, the new Telson Mark IV, and the Revic 5 to 20, which are all very, very nice scopes. Overall, Revic is the most expensive and the best scope there, although not by much at all. But what I found really interesting when we went into low light after sunset, we were on the side of the mountain looking at cars driving by on the road, looking at the headlights and how a scope renders headlights, how much they flare out, and all that sort of stuff. Kind of is an interesting indication of how stray light is handled. And Telson was the best one of them, which was very interesting. It's like there is nothing outrageously amazing in that scope, but everything is done well. My only real complaint with it is that they have exposed windage turret, which I don't like. I would have preferred a covered one for a scope like this.
Yeah, I mean, I like how the Leupold executed that on the Mark IV and Mark V, where it
Yeah,
has a cap, and if you want to run it, you're on it.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so that's the approach I generally prefer. But
What
other
about
than that,
the 3.6 to 18 in Mark V?
that is a nice scope, but for that money, I think you can do better optically.
Okay,
To be
I
blunt,
I have a Mark V, and I need to send it back because it doesn't parallax under 75 yards.
then you need to
But
send it back. But
it's
again, if you already have it, it might work reasonably well.
no, I don't have it. It's a 5 to 25.
5 to 25, that's different. 3.6 to 18 is not as good optical as 5 to 25 because they made it very short.
So when you move into the $2,000, $2,500 price range, is there another three to 18 that's better?
So the 3 to 18s out in that range, I honestly not super common. Delta makes a 3.5 to 21 by 44 striker, which is a very nice scope. And 3.5 on low end, it should be okay with thermals. I have one here. I'm planning to mess with it a little bit with a thermal clip on. My buddy at Annex Defense, the white guy you met, Don.
Mhm.
So he sells them. You can talk to him. He's a very friendly guy. If you go up into stratospheric price ranges, so this is a new Schmidt and Bender Meta that Mr. Alpine is asking about. So Meta is a 42 millimeter objective. It's exceptionally good in low light, given the objective diameter, but the polar with a much larger objective will be better in low light. In decent light, Meta is as good as anything else Schmidt makes. Might be even better than the polar, but it's a tough call. So, well, let me think about it for a moment. So as you get into the 2000s and stuff, there's not a ton. There is the attacker 4 to 16, but again, 4 power and the high end, like it starts getting a little bit harder with thermals. I know I'm missing something.
I wonder,
If
is
you
it
find it,
is it Athlon that makes the 2 to 15?
Athlon makes a 2.5 to 15 Ares BTR, and it makes a 3 to 18 Ares ETR. Ares, both are good scopes for the money. ETR is much better. BTR is a nice scope. Field of view is a little bit on the narrow side, which with your clip-on issues is not ideal. ETR will work well for you.
They have an Aries BTR Gen 3 2.5 to 15.
It is very nice, but Ares ETR is still better.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Do.
Andrew Smith, I picked up a USO of DN17 and I'm very impressed. It is an exceptionally nice scope. Unfortunately, it won't help Aaron with his problem because it tunnels on low power. In terms of field of view, it's roughly like a 4.5 to 17 scope.
Okay. You know what? I may just wait for the Telson.
Yeah. Telson should be almost there. They getting their first production match in about 2-3 weeks.
What about the Apex?
They are good scopes. They have a 3 to 15 by 44 that I generally liked, but the center dot is too big. And I don't think they have anything that goes down to 2 or 2.5, at least that I can think of.
That is a huge center dot on the 3 to 15.
It's freaking enormous.
Massive.
And it actually works reasonably.
It doesn't have 2 tenths hashes. Oh, yeah, it does.
It works reasonably nicely on low power. But as you go up in magnification, it's a little bit too big. Kind of starts annoying me. It's the same thing, since you like Athlons, Athlon makes a very nice 2 to 12 in the Helos BTR Gen 2.
Yeah, I have I think one of my favorite scopes Athlon makes is I have a 1 to 6 Cronus Gen 2.
That's actually a nice scope.
And I freaking love that scope.
Yeah,
the reticle, how they designed the reticle for the BDC at distance.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally you put the torso of something in the BDC and you can pull the trigger, right? The torso actually fills the reticle, comes in like this.
Yeah, no, I know how it works. I'm somewhat familiar with how they came up with the torso idea, yes. But
let's see, where is the Aries ETR Gen 3? Or is it Gen 2?
So Gen 2. There's no Gen 3.
That's right.
There's Gen 2 was just introduced, but I don't think they have a Gen 2 3 to 18 yet.
No,
but the Gen 1 3 to 18 is very good.
They put a 1 to 10 out. Ooh, trying to compete with Vortex.
Yeah, they are. Link is going, we really need the Razer Gen 3 2 to 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I would buy a Razer Gen 3 2 to 20.
Yeah. So would I.
Okay, so since we're on the topic of Razer Gen 3s, have you seen temperature issues with those?
No, I've heard reports of them, and I've spent a lot of time trying to chase it down. It's horseshit.
I could give you someone's phone number that you could call. He claims he had it. He had it with his.
Is that guy an MDT sponsored shooter?
No, he's Priest Precision, gunsmith out of Utah.
Give me a name. I'll hook him up with Vortex. If he legitimately has a scope that shifts with temperature, they want to see it. I tried to chase it down. I worked with Vortex trying to figure out what it could be.
Okay. I'll have to ask him because he works with Vortex quite a bit.
Yeah, send them to
it's Garrett Priest with Priest Precision.
Send them to Scott Parks.
Okay.
Scott will take that scope and just try to figure it out. Call me. I'll go look at it.
Yeah,
I can't find it.
I had someone else, Kerry Palmer, blamed his scope for something and switched to zero compromise, but I've had a Gen 3 Razer in the freezing cold and in the super heat, and I've never had an issue with mine.
And so have I.
So,
I have a shooting tunnel. I went to the range. I took a heat gun with me, and I took ice packs. I mounted it, pointed down a 100-yard tunnel at a target, looking at it, warmed it up, cooled it down, did all sorts of shit with it, warmed it up in different places. You can have a very small temporary displacement if one spot is really hot. The moment the temperature dissipates, it all goes back to normal.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. I mean, I figured you did some testing with it because I love it. The Gen 3 Razer is my favorite 22 scope I've ever used. And I've had an ATACR, and I've had an NX8, and I've had all sorts of stuff on my 22, and the Gen 3 Razer is my favorite 22 scope.
I'm with you. So I have a nicely accurate Tikka T1X, which eventually will get replaced with a Voodoo when I can afford it. I have a Voodoo 17 HMR. I just can't afford 2 Voodoos. But my normal scope on it is a Razor Gen 3. Right now, I've got a tract that I'm testing on it. Once I'm done testing it, the Gen 3 goes back. Spectacular scope. Absolutely spectacular.
Love the Gen 3. Okay. Yeah. So the consensus is we wait for the Telson optic to play with for the. I haven't bought a thermal yet, so I can wait. It's not a big deal.
So yes, but remember, I'm not unbiased because I like how those reticles turned out, and I'm very curious about your take on them. So I have an
ulterior. It's fine. I'm gonna buy a Telson anyways, right? I was gonna buy one anyways, just to support a friend and they're good guys. Have a new optic, right?
When those the Telson guys got their first prototype several months ago, they're in Canada. It's not widely known. I don't know if they want it. No, it doesn't matter. They wanted me to look at it. I said, okay, you can send it. I'll look at it, but I'm kind of time limited, etc. They looked at how U.S. Customs deals with rifle scopes and stuff. They said, fuck this. That both of them got on a plane, flew to Albuquerque for 1 day, spent a day with me at the range looking at scopes, eating a couple of steaks and all that sort of stuff, and went back the next morning.
Yeah,
they're good people. My kids like them, and my kids are very picky about people, right? They like them. They're just good guys. So
yeah, I guess I'll stay away from your kids. Telson.
Oh yeah, Link. So Link works with Discovery Optics, and their booth was next to Telson, so I think he got to spend a little time with them.
What about you? You do a lot of work with Element. Does Element have anything?
They have a 3-18 Titan, which is very good.
Yeah, I want a 5-25 Titan.
Yeah, it's a nice scope to catch you. So the Element guys they're precision shooters. So I have a lot of influence over them on smaller power optics, like the prismatics and stuff. For the precision scopes, they basically do their thing, and honestly, they're very good shots. Both Matt and Shane are very good. So they have a strong preference toward illuminating the whole reticle tree.
Yes, they do.
Which for me is basically a no-go for anything that's going to be coupled with the thermal, because you go on 3 power, the reticle is very thin. You try to illuminate it, the whole thing lights up. Behind the thermal, for me, that doesn't work great.
Okay, that makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lower power Mark IV. No, it doesn't go to 3 power. So Mark IV's out.
So with the Mark IV, there is a 2.5 to 10. That would work very well, and it's very light, but no side focus. Man, so if you want to stretch it past 800, you'll run out of focus a little bit. I have one.
Sounds like that needs to go on the 17 HMR. That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
I don't even know what's on my. I think I have a Midas tack on my 17 HMR.
On my 17 HMR at the moment, I have another, by the way, very, very nice scope. It's a little bit long, but that would actually also work for your application. So Tract makes a 2.5 to 15 by 44 scope.
Yeah, I've never done anything with Tract because they're straight to consumer.
Yeah, they're direct to consumer, unfortunately. Or fortunately. They have a new reticle coming in. It's actually a very nice Milhash reticle. It's a nice scope, but it's relatively long with relatively long eye relief. So for an AR-15, the whole thing will take up a little bit too much space.
Yeah, I think
scope otherwise.
I think I used an SLR 16 or 18 inch rail.
Okay.
Because I think my barrel's 20 inches. It might be 18, but I think it's 20.
So even with a long tracked scope, you will have enough space in the rail. That's not what I meant. Okay. What I meant is that with thermals, occasionally there are buttons, dial something that you need to manipulate.
Right.
And if you need an inspector gadget arm to reach it, right, it's a problem.
Yeah, that's why we're talking, man. Because you're the expert. I'm just the new guy. This is my first day here.
The bulk of what I'm telling you has nothing to do with expertise. It's mild OCD and lots and lots of mileage with these things.
Exactly. I have 0 mileage. You want to learn how to shoot without the timer affecting you? Come talk to me. I can do that.
That's why we're talking now.
Exactly. You want to shoot thermals? Don't talk to me. I don't have any idea. Thermal, is that like a video game? Like, I don't freaking know.
Yeah. But anyhow, so as much as I like Tract, and I'm very friendly with John Lacorte from Tract, he's a good dude and a good friend, and I'm always happy to help them. But also, when I reap them a new one, they take it like adults and assume it's constructive criticism, which is what it is. So they're good people. But the 2.5 to 15 is just not ideal for clip-ons because they're like everything that you need to control is too far away from you. On the 2 to 10 front, so Leopold's announced this new version of the 2 to 10 by 30 Mark V with a new reticle. The reticle should be very good. And that one would work very well with clip-ons. But it's a 30mm objective. It's very nice optically, though.
Sorry, it's a 2 to what?
2 to 10 by 30mm objective.
Oh,
short.
That just makes me awesome.
Short, very nice with clip-ons, with side focus if you need it. And they have a new nice reticle.
What about a 3 to 18 strike eagle?
That would work very well. That's actually that scope punches way above its price range, but I do not remember how it's illuminated.
I should send you a picture of my Tikka T1X. So I scored a Dill of the Century. I traded a guy a Mark IV and a set of Area 419 rings for a Tikka T1X in an ACC chassis with a Strike Eagle on top of it.
No, that's a nice setup.
Yeah, I need to clean the gun. It's super dirty, but I ran it out to 400 yards using my other gun Stope, and it shot amazing. So
I believe it. Okay, so
I didn't even chrono it or anything. I was like, the Voodoo Stope is X. Bam, ping. Oh, perfect. Like, there we go.
Okay, I'm looking at the Strike Eagle on the Vortex website. There we go, reticle.
I'm gonna go look to see which one it is. I think it's the 5 to 25.
Okay, there is the 3 to 18 is comparatively better. The 5 to 25 is very nice as well.
Oh, you know what? I have an Arkin on my 17.
Yeah. So I just looked it up, and the Strike Eagle also has the whole tree illuminated.
Okay. So I lied. I have an Arkin EP4 on my 17 HMR.
If you have a good one, they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If you have a good one.
Yep. I don't know. I've only shot it once. I guess I need to take it out. Because I need to take it out before I go chase prairie dogs in April.
Prairie dogs in April. That's something I need to do. That's what I originally got the 17 HMR for, but then I didn't do anything with it. Going
to Wyoming. So the thing I like about the 17 HMR is its 50 yard zero is the same as its 100 yard zero.
Yeah.
It's so freaking amazing.
It shoots flat. It's very accurate. Remember, I have a Voodoo 17 HMR, and I don't need to reload, which is nice.
Stray. What about the PST? I used to have a 3 to 15 PST Gen 2.
It will work well, but I think also the whole tree is illuminated, but very wide field of view, which is nice.
Okay, back to Telson.
So Mr. Alpine is reminding me that the Primary Arms announced a new PLXC 2.5 to 20 by 48 at SHOT Show.
I have a Primary Arms dealer account.
So it's not available yet. It will be available sometime in the summer. With Primary Arms, they announced it with 2 reticles. The 3 type reticle is too busy for me, and it will be too busy for you, I suspect.
I kind of like the medium ground.
Yeah, I'm with you. But they have a non-3 reticle, the reticle without a tree, and that one is pretty good. It's called DECA G2. So I'm gonna get one with that reticle and play with it.
That's what intrigued me about the Mark IV PMR3 reticle. It has the PMR2 cross reticle, but then it's a simple tree going down.
You're talking about PR3 reticle.
Yeah, the PR3 reticle. Yep.
So the problem with the PR3 reticle in the Mark IV is that it's not illuminated.
I know, it's so annoying.
But
literally am scrolling through their website.
yeah, or you can just ask me.
Jesus.
But so Leopold, as much as I like those guys, I'm super friendly with John Snodgrass and a few of those guys. It's just good people. They never seize an opportunity to Leopold something.
Freaking A, no joke.
And the reticle illumination is one of those things. The Mark IV 4.5 to 18 that I have has illuminated PR1. It could use a few more numbers, but aside from that, it's a very respectable reticle. Again, I have a video on that one
Yep.
as well.
Okay,
I'll put a link and take a look when I have a chance.
Mr. Ling says, "Why not an EP5?" Well, if you knew what I could buy an Arc and EP4 for, you would buy an Arc and EP4 for a gun you shoot once a year. So that's why. That's why not an EP5.
Oh, friends don't let friends buy Arcan.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that I mean, the scope was almost free. That's how I feel about it. Like it was, yeah. I'm sorry. I know one of the founders of Arkin, and with a dealer set up, that scope was almost free. So
how familiar are you with this new company called DNT?
So you probably know better than me, but DNT is the OEM of Arkin.
Correct, but they had a little bit of falling out. They still supply some small number of scopes to Arkin. But
I will tell you,
their own thing.
The dealer margin on DNT is unattractive, but we are going to stock some DNTs.
They are trying to own the market. So here is the link to the video.
Well, they're terrible at owning the market because their margins are trash.
So this is the video on the Leopold PR1 reticle. Here's what it looks like.
Yep.
And this one is illuminated, and that works very nicely. The problem is that 4.5 on the low end is not very good for clip-ons. That's the problem. Okay.
Does DNT have anything but a 7 to 35?
They have a full lineup, and they keep on coming out with more. If you want something inexpensive to play with, they will be a very interesting option because it will be a lot for the money. And I have the 7 to 35 here, and I'm genuinely impressed with what they did for the money. It definitely looks better than any Arcan I've ever seen.
Do they have on their website? They have the 7 to 35. They don't have anything else.
They had a full lineup of different scopes at SHOT Show, getting ready for production.
Yeah, they were down in the dungeon, and I could not make it over there. At Cody, my CAO went over and talked to them and picked up their information, and we'll sell some of their stuff.
I was tricked to go talk to them. A friend of mine carries them. He really wanted me to look at them and all that sort of stuff. So I went and looked, and I'm glad I did. Several things they do there I found genuinely impressive and extremely mature for such a new company. That was very surprising. So,
yeah, I mean, they manufacture stuff for other people, so I mean,
it's so a link, who's listening on here. He will know the story arguably better than I would. So where that OEM is not where high quality optics in China are usually made. For a while, Mr. Guntote in Minnesota is here. How are you, sir?
That's Andrew, right?
Yeah, that's Andrew, yes.
Bienvenido a la casa de the Dark Lord of all.
If you want to hop on for 10 minutes, I can send you the link. But anyhow, where DNT and Arcan are manufactured is not where traditionally high-end optics are done in China. It's a different area, different province. Historically, what used to be there is a lot of air guns, airsoft scopes, and all that sort of stuff, like the blister pack scopes. And it sounds like with Discovery and the Arcan OEM, there have been a couple there. There are a couple of companies out there that are, at some point, they decided they just want to move up market because that's where the volumes and the money and the margins are. And they did. And it's been a little bit of a rough going because it's a much more demanding market. So I've been keeping an eye on it, but mostly ignoring it because it just wasn't good enough. Oh, there you go. Link is right there. DNT is called Pangu, the Chinese OEM. They make Arcan and DNT. Okay. Yeah, so Discovery Optics designed something that he's going to finish.
Nice.
So Discovery, I think, was the first OEM for Arkin, and then they moved to Pango or something like that. But anyhow, the stuff I'm looking at right now, the 7035 is quite mature. The thermals they're doing are quite mature. Their eyepieces are very mature. All right. So Discovery made the EP4. So your scope is actually made by Discovery. What was I? Yeah. How the durability and everything, longevity works out, nobody knows for sure. But everything I've seen from that part of China up to date has, in my opinion, been not quite up to snuff. These DNT stuff is the first ones I see that where I actually see some maturity in the system design quality. So that's going to be interesting to look at.
Heck yeah. Cool.
But anyhow, we're at just over 2 hours, so should be wrapping up anyway. To reiterate, so for your situation, I would consider the Telson. I think that would have to be the front runner for what you're looking to do. Although, if you first decide on which thermal clip-on you want, we can look at the fields of view and figure out what will match it best.
I am kind of torn between the Steiner and that new Athlon one, just because it has the rangefinder built into it.
Yeah.
So, and it's, I mean,
So-
either one of them I can get a decent deal on. So it's just, I mean, it just really depends. Like the Steiner is like the standout, but like is taking a slightly less quality one worth the extra range finding capabilities. I don't know. That's something I've got to figure out.
Oh, that's very interesting. So Link is saying the 735 Arcan and DNT are designed by a very different group of engineers compared to other Arcan scopes. The owner of Pangu has studied tangent loophole razor and Z-comp when designing the new 735. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense why it's nice.
Who's this Link guy?
I don't know if you saw, you probably didn't see him at SHOT. He works, Link, you still work for Discovery Optics? He did as recently as SHOT Show. He was in Utah for a while, I think, then went back to China. Now I don't know if he's back in China or in US. He was in US for SHOT Show. So he has a lot of background information on all these Chinese OEMs.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds like a cool dude.
He's a nice guy, and like every time I talk to him, he knows more and more and more about optics. I have a lot of appreciation for that. Like continuing to learn is a cool thing. But where was I? Yeah. So different clip-ons do menus differently. The way Steiner did the menu, it will work better with your low-end magnifications. You might lose some field of view, but you'll still see the menu. And that's a basic problem. If the menu is all in the quarters and your day scope field of view is slightly narrower, right, and you don't see the menus, it's very hard to operate if you need to do anything. I don't remember how they did it on the Athlon.
Are they willing to send you one?
Who?
Athlon.
If I ask, I'm sure.
Yeah, because you should get one and then we should play with it.
Yeah.
Or I'll see if I can get one, because reselling it shouldn't be that hard if I don't like it.
I'll ask them. So I worked with Annex Defense to make a mount for the Steiner, because the way they did it without that Picatinny. You saw that Picatinny mount.
Mm-hmm.
That mount, if I need to, I should also work with the Athlon clip-on. They're made by the same OEM.
Yeah, I looked at that during they have the same clip. Yeah, I looked at that when I was at the Western Hunting Expo, which is the only reason I went. The only reason I went to the Hunting Expo. I saw a lot of other things and a lot of cool people, and I saw a bunch of my reps and stuff. But I went specifically there, and it turns out it was the last thing I did. I looked at it, then I left. But I had a good time chatting with the Garmin folks about Athlon's new Garmin chronograph and some other things. So I had a good time.
Did they have anything interesting to say?
They basically said it looks like a knockoff, but Garmin's been in the technology space much longer. They won't lower their price, and acknowledge there's enough room in the industry for both
Okay.
offerings. So
I'm gonna get the Athlon chronograph to look at. I'm very, very curious. So we'll see.
yeah, so
So
I dropped the link of the
oh,
Athlon one that
yeah,
I'm looking at. So
I'm familiar with it. I saw it at SHOT Show, but I don't remember how they did the menus.
yeah,
That's
I don't
kind of
remember either because I played with a bunch of different ones, but
yeah.
yeah, it would. I think it would take your design, but they
Mhm.
also put a freaking clamp on the bottom of
Yeah,
it.
they have a normal clamp. So the design that we did with Annex Defense, the one advantage to it, if you have some sort of a very short AR and you're using like a prismatic, very short scope, you can mount a thermal clip on it without ever touching the handguard. So you have all that handguard space available for other things. That's the basic idea. So it's a specific application. Andrew is asking if we are going to be at NRA this year. I think NRA is in Georgia, right? No, I'm not.
No, I don't think I'll be at.
I
I will probably not be at
yeah,
NRA.
unless the only time I've been to NRA was when it was in Texas, and I could combine it with a work trip. Again, I travel so much for my day job that I'm not itching to have any extra separate trips.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I have. So I'm going to go support Tony's match in Montana. I'm headed to Europe in June. I'm trying to think of what else I got going on for different trips. So if
yeah.
all I did was Anarchy Outdoors full time, I would probably go to NRA. So,
What else
but
do you do?
I'm a software implementation expert, solutionings guy.
For
So Tyler Technologies.
Tyler Technologies.
So
Uh,
I work for a small software company that got purchased by Tyler a couple of years ago. We
oh, cool.
specialize in dispersing financial payments, so
Mhm.
prepaid debit cards, like a text message to get your funds. We do jury payments. We pay the NCAA referees. We pay high school referees.
Mhm.
We used to pay the NFL referees. We do all the cowboy and cowgirls for the PRCA and
Mhm.
WPRCA. We used to do some other stuff too, but yeah, we do some really cool, interesting stuff. I understand how payment rails work, debit cards work, how to spoof debit cards, how to skim debit cards. I taught my brother. My brother works for the Secret Service in the financial crime side,
I
and he
see.
called me one day and was like, "Hey, how do you do this?" And I was like, "Easy." I pulled out this $40 encoder, set it on my desk, and I was like, "This swipe." Change the numbers, swipe. Like here's a credit card that has different numbers on it. Super easy to do. The tap ones are a little more difficult to spoof, but it's still can be done.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I do that, and so I do PCI audits and compliance, and I run our product support team, and I do implementations and solutioning, and I used to do IT management, but I'm kind of a stopgap in when there's not someone who knows how to do it. I kind of do it. So
I see.
I'm
Okay.
very good at
Very
solving problems. I get asked
cool.
all the time why I don't work for Anarchy full time, and the thing is I'm expensive. I'm
Mhm.
an expensive person. Anarchy has 11 employees. We pay our chief operations officer very well. He's also a minority owner, and he runs the business every day. I don't need to be there every day.
Are you the
I can do.
majority owner?
No, I'm the second majority owner. My
Okay.
business partner is the majority owner
Okay,
of
got
it.
it.
So, but you
But
never see him. He's
yeah,
invisible. Like
yeah,
he,
you're the social media face.
yeah, I am the face of the company. He's a CPA. He's also the VP of finance at the software company.
Mhm.
He's the bean counter. He makes the paperwork happen.
Mhm.
He does all of that. He doesn't really show his face a ton, but very astute business guy. Him and I are a dynamic duo. He has the traits that I don't have, and I have the traits that he doesn't have. And then our chief operations officer is his youngest brother. We brought
Mhm.
him in when he was young, 20, 21. He's been with us for 7 or 8 years, and now he's the COO. and he runs it every day. So keeps
Very cool.
it rolling, and it's growing. It's rolling and growing. And if I went and worked for Anarchy every day, I don't know if I would add the value beyond like I could be more social media, more content driven, but I wouldn't add the value to justify what it would cost the company for me to be there every day.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, and eventually, if we get to the point where my skill set, like we get to the point where we need the skill set that I have at the dollars that I make, then it makes sense. But right now, Anarchy needs a lot of, I hate to say $10 an hour people because we pay our people much better than that. But like, why would you pay me to do a $10 task? Why would you pay Ilya to do a $10 task, right? It's not our specialties. It's not our capabilities, right? You can hire a bunch of people to ship and pack boxes and do customer support and different things. So,
very cool. Yeah. I know I got distracted from. I also know I have a day job and I do this stuff on the side. But one of the many reasons why I can't easily quit my day job is that my day job is what allows me to tell companies when I think they want something from me that questions my integrity. I'm perfectly free to go and tell a graphics card manufacturer, go take a long walk on a short pier, because I don't depend on anyone.
Yep. Yeah, and I I own another company that I 3D print products for Anarchy because Anarchy has never been interested in the cheaper 3D printed stuff. So like our mag flags and the bipod caddies and stuff. My brother-in-law and I we do those and we sell them through Anarchy. So and then Anarchy and we've got other investments on the side. Like we got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. But it's fun. It's been fun. It's been extremely fun to start and grow Anarchy. It is a 1% business, meaning it's made a certain amount of money, it's lasted a certain amount of time, and it's grown to a certain size. And as you start to calculate, most businesses fail within the first 5 years. Most businesses aren't profitable in the first 5 years. Most businesses are never profitable. Do they ever reach $1 million in revenue a year? Like, there's a lot of different steps, but we've been able to produce a 1% business, right?
Very cool.
So it's been very fun. This year is our 10-year anniversary in October.
Oh,
I'm hoping that my business partners will do something interesting for it. Maybe some new swag or some like limited edition coins or patches or something. One of them didn't even realize this was our 10-year anniversary. So hopefully we'll do something cool. So stay tuned. So.
Yeah, very cool. So completely off topic. I was looking at other stuff on my desk and I found I have an 8.6 blackout case for here.
Oh, I got a case for you.
And I have an 8.6 blackout bullet.
Oh, that's cool. I think I've shown this one to you before.
What is that? Oh, that's the composite case stuff?
No, this is a 1938 Bulgarian Mauser case.
Oh, very cool.
So if this will focus.
Yeah, no, it's blurry.
I'll focus. I'll
Ah,
send you a picture of it.
But
anyways, it has the Wehrmacht symbol on it.
Oh, very
So
cool.
this is German produced Bulgarian Mauser. And the reason it's not German Mauser is the shoulder is there's like no shoulder.
Yeah,
A German Mauser has a much bigger shoulder.
Correct. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so this is 1930. I found 100 rounds of these in original stripper clips. So I have a bunch of Nazi German ammo, but I also found at the same time a bunch of wood 6.5 by 55 Swede, like riot ammo. It was the craziest thing ever. So
yeah, very, very cool. Okay, it's 10:30 here. I need to get moving. I still have work to do before I go to sleep. So thank you all for sticking with us. If there are any questions that were not answered, you know where to find me. Put something in the comments. If it's for Aaron, I will make sure he gets it. Aaron, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all, and good night.
Have a good one.